Hello and welcome to Confidently Wrong, a show by regular dudes talking with confidence about content we have no right to speak about with any kind of authority, but do it anyway. I'm Wesley Nakamura, and today it's just me and Savon Jones, aka Captain Vonnie. This is episode 61, and we're going to talk Ms. Marvel, revisit some PlayStation games, and then we're going to take it up about 10 levels as Savon and I realize we're just never going to see eye to eye on certain issues. I'm confident that it's going to be the best show you've ever listened to, and well, hey, if it's not, you can always ask us for a refund.
Incredible!
Savon, it's just me and you today, bro. We got abandoned by our confidently wrong co-hosts. One of them...
Spending time with their families.
Yeah, I know. What is that? One of them made their way to Europe for, a wedding, whatever. That seems like not a big deal. What? You could have a wedding in Europe anytime. You can't record with us, every day. So I think they made the wrong choice. Brian, if you're listening, which he's not, he's definitely not listening.
Very.
And then Mike hits us up yesterday and is like, guys, I'm out. I can't record tomorrow. Why, Mike? Well, I forgot. I had somebody staying over. So
got family,
yeah,
friends. What? We're the only family and friends you need.
Exactly, right? Like
just this.
Come on, bro. Like, get together. So it'll just be you today. We're gonna do one episode, which would be really cool. We just got kind of a lot of bits and bobs we're gonna throw in here today, and then me and Savon have very different takes on certain topics, but we're gonna try not to kill each other today, so we'll see how it goes. We might not be friends. Right. We might not be friends after this. We'll see, Savon. We don't have the buffer of Mike, to rally our energies against.
Mike's like an accelerant.
All right, let's get into it. So the first thing we're gonna talk about today is the Ms. Marvel trailer. There is Disney Plus put out another trailer for their upcoming series, which looks to be pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of excited. A couple of things I thought while I've seen it or while I watched it was I kind of really liked the overlays they did in the beginning. They kind of put the paper cutouts of the dialogue boxes. There was some other stuff going on there. It kind of reminded me of like Scott Pilgrim or even Into the Spider-Verse. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Or if you've seen it yet.
I've seen the style.
Okay, all right. You really need to watch that, bro.
I know.
But the style is pretty cool. I don't know if they're going to carry that into the series. It kind of disappears as the trailer goes on, so I wonder if that was just for the trailer, and that kind of thing. I had a question for you. Do you know why or how there is a Ms. Marvel and a Captain Marvel both existing in the same universe? Like, is one based on the other, or did they just make a mistake and they're like, we'll just have two different characters? Like, how is this happening, Spawn?
So, Wes, that's actually a really good question, and I actually have an answer for you.
Oh, you do have an answer.
I actually have an answer for you. Yeah.
This was a cold question, guys. I didn't prep Savon for this.
No, you didn't.
We could have just got a whole lot of dead time of like, I don't know. Let me look it up.
Yeah, no. So back in the day, I'd say even 15, 20 years ago, the character we know as Captain Marvel, played by oh my God, I'm blanking on her name already.
I don't know, Bree something.
Thank you. Oh my God.
I'll look it up. You keep going.
Anyways, the character used to be called Ms. Marvel in the comics, and a lot of older stuff you'll see her called that. Her mentor used to be, remember how in the movie there's that alien people she's all with? The Kree.
Kree.
There's a Kree character who's named Captain Marvel. He's actually a character who dies. So he permanently dies. So for a while, she's Miss Marvel, and I think as the years went by, they decided to rebrand the character Ms. Marvel as Captain Marvel just because it's a bit more showing of her authority. Her character was always military like you see in the movie. I think they wanted to lean more into that side instead of just the Ms. And so they stopped using the Ms. Marvel like name period. And then completely kind of unrelated, the character who we now know as Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan, she's just you see it in the trailer, right? She's just a superhero fangirl. So for her, picking up the Ms. Marvel name it's just an homage to Captain Marvel, who she just idolizes.
So it is based on Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Captain Marvel used to be Ms. Marvel in the comics, but they just kind of rebranded her character. But there was a Captain Marvel when she was Ms. Marvel, but that character essentially is permanently dead.
So does she take on his mantle, or she was her own character already and she just becomes Captain Marvel? Like unrelated.
She became Ms. Marvel because of her relationship with him.
Okay.
Not like dating relationship, but like mentor-mentee relationship.
Gotcha. And then she takes on sort of his mantle as Captain Marvel in a sense.
Or they kind of are like partially mantle. Some of it's just we're gonna stop having our female characters just be known as Ms. Because, you know,
version.
It's like, okay,
yeah, exactly. Miss Spider-Man, Miss that,
that type
She-Hulk.
of thing.
Yeah, it's like,
yeah,
just
so
give them
in
their
this
own
case,
character name.
Yeah, and she's actually in the military, so Captain is just, you know, it worked both ways.
It's fitting.
Yeah.
I hear you.
But she just does it as an homage as Ms. because, like, yo, Captain Marvel's my hero.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. I mean, in the trailer, you see her looking up at, like, some kind of hanging suit, you know, like some kind of museum exhibit or something like that where she's kind of into it. So that makes sense that she's kind of drawing on her fandom and kind of her cosplay intuitions here.
She's a nerd. That's the thing. She's like an actual cosplay nerd. That's her actual character.
All right, that's cool. I mean, I'm into that. It seems like from the trailer, they're kind of going to live into the duality of living as a brown girl in America, in Jersey, as kind of a W.E.B. Du Bois shout out, right? Like the dual consciousness of Black Americans. And I also thought it kind of felt like there's going to be a tone in here where it's very similar to the series Never Have I Ever by Mindy Kaling. I think it's on Hulu. No, it's on Netflix, which is also centers around a South Asian girl, not a Muslim girl, I think. But pretty cool that these series are going to sort of be piggybacking off each other, I think, in terms of like momentum. But obviously, it's going to have a different audience, right? Given that like there's a superhero-ness added onto it or layer added onto it, and maybe I think Marvel has already sort of dabbled in this, right? Like this dual consciousness idea of their characters who are minorities. So it'll be interesting to see like how this advances that, or maybe disappointingly just kind of does the same tropes as other things do. But even that might not be so bad, given that it's going to have a different audience, a new audience who, you know, especially if you're white in America, you may not have like had to experience these things or think about these things. And so maybe the show will at least be some introduction into that. I think that's maybe hoping a little bit too much for a Marvel show, but it's possible. They've shown they can kind of do things like that in the past with Captain America and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the new Captain America, and then a little bit with Black Panther stuff, a little bit with Shang-Chi. I mean, it was sort of in there in the beginning, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, honestly, I agree with that, Wes. I'm excited in that regard. I think one of we talked about this when they were releasing all these shows of you have this unique opportunity to appeal to different niches and just do stories that wouldn't be told, and
it doesn't have to be for everyone.
Yeah,
right?
It doesn't have to
when
be.
It's on Disney Plus.
Exactly, but they're still generally accessible stories. So for me, and I say this is like, even granted, I'm going to watch most of these shows. I'm not going to love all of them, but I've enjoyed them kind of exploring their different characters' actual cultural heritage. It doesn't have to always be deep. It doesn't have to be a pivotal part of the story, but it's nice to just have that human element and kind of get a slice of life of another group's culture. Like, you know, I don't know to what extent Shang-Chi did or didn't do that, but I, as someone who's not a member of that community, still appreciate it. Just like, hey, this is just cool to see, because from my own experiences, I would never be exposed to these just cultural tropes or types of people or languages or whatever. And for that, I'm excited, because I say this as someone who's from New Orleans. It's a lot of people don't leave the city, and there's a lot of cultures that you just might not experience. And I'm even realizing that living in Michigan. So I don't know if other people or the casual fan feels that same way, but I love getting to see kind of a slice of life into a culture I've never been exposed to otherwise.
Yeah. I don't know. In Shang-Chi, if you remember, there was a scene where they're kind of having dinner or breakfast together with the family. I think for some Asian Americans, and this is not necessarily my family, but I think for some Asian Americans, that's a very like, it felt kind of how some dinners and some meals will go. And I think if you were looking at that as someone from New Orleans who's Black, I don't think you'd be like, yeah, that's what our family dinners feel like.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a very different tone, right? So I think that's for sure true, right? We're kind of getting these glimpses into different people's experiences. My family doesn't have necessarily meals like that. We didn't have multi-generational households. So we wouldn't have like a grandma or something like that at breakfast on the regular or dinner or whatever. But we did have family friends who would come over. So it's pretty cool. All right, let's keep it moving here. Oh, one thing I want to say, we got a glimpse of her powers.
Yeah, wanted
And I
to.
thought they looked fun. I don't think they're going to be major. I think we might be feeling like, she's a little bit, whatever. There's maybe just the powers are going to be just whatever they needed them to be. But they looked like fun, right? She got to make these little pods that she can bounce on or run on through the air. So it'll give her a little bit of height, a little bit of flight, abilities here. And then she had some kind of shield situation going on, which obviously very useful. She'd be perfect in a video game. So it looked like a lot of fun.
So I'm gonna go in with the open mind.
Sure.
But it's a very big departure from her comics powers. I don't know if you know that.
I don't know what her powers are. They seem to come from a bracelet in this one.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very in the comics. Straight up, she's like an inhuman, and she has like stretchy powers. Like she can stretch her body and punch. Kind of like Mr. Fantastic.
Mr. Fantastic, kind of.
Yeah, that type of deal. Make big rubber fists and punch you.
Yeah.
So that's
Incredibles, Miss Incredible, right?
Exactly, those types of vibes. Yeah. So I'm very much like, this is drastically different. And
I'm just making here platforms, some icicle
platforms.
Like,
oh, so is she like doing like a Green Lantern thing? So I would have liked to see the stretchy powers, but I also understand that maybe from just like the practical VFX, suspend your disbelief, that might be hard to do.
Distracting.
So I'm going to go in with an open mind and say, you know what? Let's see what they do with it. Because clearly, if it's not her having mutant powers, basically it's going to come from maybe an external source. So maybe that's a whole nother type of story you can tell. So we'll see. There was a silhouette of some different people who looked like they were important or heroes. So I'm wondering in the trailer. So I'm wondering, hey, what are they going to do with that? So I'm going to go in with an open mind. I don't know if the show's going to be for me, but it looks like it'll be fun.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, they don't have a Green Lantern type character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now, but they probably are thinking about bringing back Fantastic Four in the next few years. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if it makes sense to set her up with slightly different powers just because of that, right? Like you have a different power set and someone who can you don't want them showing up in the same movie and being like, hey, your powers are exactly the same.
And he's a more established character.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be hard to just compete with Mr. Fantastic just in terms of name recognition. So
for sure.
I get why they would have done it. So, but I'm going to go in with an open mind and say, okay, let's see what they'll do with it.
We just got a glimpse. We'll see how they how they come up with it. All right, let's move it along. Gran Turismo 7. We talked about it an episode or two ago, and we talked about whether there'd be a market for it. I was just questioning. Obviously, I'm someone who's really enjoyed GT in the past, but wasn't necessarily that hyped about this game and didn't feel like there was a lot of hype online. I think in some ways that's true, and in some ways that's definitely been proven to be false. It topped the boxed game sales charts in the UK, so I assume that meant it also did well here in the US. It actually took down Elden Ring for a week. I'm not sure if it continued, but it took down Elden Ring for a week. But things have happened since the game launched about a week or so ago. There was an online outage that happened. I guess their servers went down or something like that, and because the game is always trying to connect, it actually pretty much locked people out of 90% of the game. They couldn't even do single player. And people were just like, we predicted that this could happen given that you said it needed to be online the whole time. But most of the game, or vast majority of that game is single player. So why does it need to be synced across like that? And that probably involves the microtransaction economy, right? That it needs the microtransactions and your credits need to be synced across your account no matter where you're at. So they're aware of what's going on. And Polyphony Digital took a little bit of a hit this week in terms of their microtransactions and their economy in the game. So they've responded to people complaining about the game and the microtransactions and how much credits it costs to buy different things. They've sort of apologized. It was kind of a half apology, and they've addressed it. So, hey, we've heard the complaints. We don't want to make any enemies of the game, which I think is the right way to handle it, right? You can't just be like, oh, don't worry about it, or right, oh, that's the game. Too bad it is what it is, especially when they only make one game every 5 years. Or 6 years. So they're trying to appease the players. They donated 1 million in-game credits to each player. And for a frame of reference, 2 million credits cost about £16, so it's probably about $20 to get 2 million credits. So they kind of give a little $10 to every player who's playing the game. But where some gamers are like, that's not really enough, is that some of the cars can cost between 5 and 20 million credits. So it's a little something in the beginning stages, but in terms of working towards some of those bigger cars, it doesn't really do a whole lot for them. And in that way, it felt very 2K-esque I think the players are talking about, you're grinding and grinding and grinding through these small races and through these big races, and even playing an hour, you're only getting maybe 600,000 credits at the most, just playing like straight game after game after game, race after race after race for an hour. And so they're feeling like we're really having to pay for performance. We're having to pay for these cars that perform better in these races. It feels a little bit unfair. And for you and me who have played 2K, this starts to feel like, in the same way that 2K is kind of a money grab.
Pay to win.
Gran Turismo for a long time hasn't been that at all. It's just been a grindy game and you can get to it. This feels very much like they're starting to change the balance there. Any thoughts on Gran Turismo before we move on?
We talked about it a little bit in the pre-show, but it's one of those.
Hit us up on our Patreon so you can get access to our pre-show convos, guys.
Right? Yeah.
$1 in the Patreon.
It's like one of those. There are some adults, and we're not necessarily those people, Wes.
Nah.
But there are some adults who have more money than time. And so I understand why.
We hate those people, by the way.
Yeah. I understand why for someone who only has maybe a couple hours a week to game or whatever, they work a lot. They don't have time to grind it out. And they say, yo, I'll drop $20 on this to get a head start because I just literally don't have time to grind it out. I get it. And those people are out there. But you have to strike that balance, right? Where if the players are saying it's too hard to get money just by organically playing the game, that's where you really start to have a problem. And you can make both crowds happy. I think you can. But you got to strike that balance. And if you don't strike it early on, you lose a lot of goodwill with your player base. So we'll see how it goes down the line. And she said they're going to adjust the economy. So if players feel like, hey, I can play this game organically and keep up, then maybe it'll be all dandy. But it really might hurt their brand depending on how this goes, especially depending on how Forza responds to that. Because these games are, they're direct competitors and they watch what each other do. So
yeah, we'll see what happens with the next Forza Motorsport that comes out for sure. What you said though about people who sort of want that head start, or they feel like they don't necessarily have time to do the beginnings of the game, or they just want that head start. It just makes me wonder, like, why are you playing that game, right? Like, if you told me, hey, you're gonna do Breath of the Wild or Horizon, and I know they're different genres, and so maybe that's part of it. If you told me, like, hey, you can pay an extra $20, get a head start, you'll be like this far in the game instead, or you'll start with this, this type of armor and this type of weapon, I'd be like, well, what are we playing the game for, right? Like, you can't just jump me levels, right? The beginning part of the game is part of the game. In some games, that includes the grindy parts where you got to like be bad at the game first to be good at it later.
So I think you're thinking more single player. I think a better analogy would be a game like Grand Theft Auto, a game like 2K, a game like Gran Turismo. It's like a perfect example. For those types of games, you have to, regardless of playing the game, you have to grind it out to get certain things you want. So, same person who only has a few hours a week to game, they might want to do that. But if they literally just don't have the time, for them, it's, I bought this game and I want to experience specific parts of it. So, and for them, it's like, hey, if I can spend $20 right now to do that instead of having to eke out the grinds that'll take me weeks instead, to them, that makes perfect sense. Like, that's I think it's less of an issue with narrative-based games because a lot of those games, you can turn the difficulty down to where you're basically just doing an interactive movie. Like, if you looked at how customizable the Horizon difficulty stuff is, you can make it to where a 5-year-old could play that game. And that's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that because some people don't want a challenge. They just want to experience
the story, the world.
Yeah, they don't want to be challenged. They want to just see cool stuff. And so I get those people exist. And, you do have to cater to them to an extent too. That being said, this is not me defending microtransactions because on most levels that's still scummy, but
yeah. Well, you were saying that your experience with 2K actually turned you off in a big way. Like, you've been playing 2K for a long time. And
I actively watch it get worse. Like, I actively, after 7-8 years of playing it, watch each year, oh dang, it's hard for me to just get this VC to update my dude.
Yeah.
Oh dang, my dude starts off awful. And it's a grind to get
60,
this VC.
Level 60, bro.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, my character, like, I could play better basketball in real life than my character. And
he's supposed to be a pro, right?
Yeah, like, I'm like, dude, I could have made this layup in real life and you just absolutely missed this. I'm like, dude, I think I could actually run faster than you are in the game. It's disrespectful.
Well, when I see you online, I almost never see you play 2K now. Have you been just sort of like putting it on the side? You deleted it.
I deleted it. It was just like the game itself is still really fun, the gameplay, but for the modes I like to play, I'm locked out of it's just such a pain to have to get like VC to update things. It's like, dude, I don't have time for this. I just want to hoop.
It just does not warrant space in your hard drive anymore.
Yeah.
Did you delete your player file? Your data.
I mean, I'm probably like, well, no, because people are gonna hold this against me. No, I still have it because it's saved to like my little iCloud thing.
All right. Yeah.
But like
the player data doesn't take up a lot of space.
Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, it's just the game itself. But like,
right.
They swung way too hard in the other direction. It turned into a pay to win.
Go back to it.
Very unlikely.
All right. Fair enough.
It got pretty egregious. Like, dude, I don't have time for this nonsense.
All right. Well, that takes us actually to our next big topic, which is going to be about some RPGs. Horizon Forbidden West, Elden Ring. We've actually talked about these on the show before, so we're not going to try and rehash everything that we've talked about, that Brian's talked about in past ones. But a couple of things that were kind of interesting to us. Sales for Elden Ring actually have seemed to be about 2.5 times the sales for Horizon Forbidden West. So in terms of the excitement level, in terms of word of mouth and buzz, it seems like Elden Ring is kind of taking over. I know when Elden Ring first dropped, I still saw a lot of people playing Horizon, but now a lot of my friends list, which it's not extensive, I think I only have like 20 friends online or whatever. There's been quite a few people playing Elden Ring quite a few times. You even got Tyler to play, it looked like. He's been into Elden Ring.
He got it. He's the one who got me to get it.
Oh, okay. All right. So
him and Mike got it, and I basically just spent maybe 3-4 days just while I was playing Horizon, spectating them on the screen share, watching.
Oh, you were
play.
watching. Okay.
Yeah, I was watching them play. I was like, because I have very lukewarm feelings about the game.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, you know what? Fine, I'll give the game an honest try. And yeah, I mean, I'm having fun.
That's awesome. So we'll talk about that in a second. I want to talk about Horizon Forbidden West just in terms of experience. Now that we've had a lot more time with it, Mike has finished the game. Did you finish the game?
Yeah, I finished.
Or are you taking a break? You finished the game, the main story. Okay, very cool. I'm still playing it. I'm super enjoying it. I do waste a lot of time walking from here to there, battling these different robots, doing whatever. I'm like 50 plus hours in at this point. I'm probably not even halfway through the story. Well, maybe I'm a little bit more than halfway through the story. I don't know. Approximately seems like based on what people are saying. But I don't even feel bad about it. I'm enjoying it. I'm getting my money's worth out of this game, because once I stop, I probably won't come back to it. So I'm just going to enjoy it the first time through. I'm going to explore as much as I can, get all the things, all the little collectibles that I want to get, and do all the battles. I love fighting the robots. I mean, it's just a lot of fun. I'm using the charge up, or the precision arrows, but I'm using the charge up feature on one of the what do they call it? The Valor surges.
Mm-hmm.
And shoot, one of those arrows does like 500 damage. That's a satisfying plunk, man. When you hit it, poof, and they just explode for 500 damage. I mean, you could take out one of those burrowers. Is done. One hit, one shot, one kill. The bigger dinos you can't take down with that. But you do a lot of big damage on them from the get go, so that's always good. So it's a blast, man. I'm loving this. The gameplay is fun. I find myself not enjoying the puzzles as much as I enjoy the combat, but certainly the puzzles are still cool. I don't get tired of them, but I'd much rather just do the fights, use all the different types of ammo and see what they do. What was your experience with it? Did you enjoy it? Are you going to go back to it? How are you feeling about it?
I mean, I've been finished the story, but I still have just been screwing around, doing side quests, exploring, just picking fights.
Did you New Game Plus it?
No, there's no New Game Plus yet.
Oh,
but
okay.
I think they're going to eventually release one. So that's something that is also kind of keeping me in the game of like, oh, well, I want to make my character as awesome as possible so that when New Game Plus is released and the inevitable DLC comes out, I can just go in with a fully kitted out character and then jack up the difficulty and try and really, But everything you said, I agree with. This is one of the more visually appealing games I've played in a while. I don't know if you've done the desert sequence yet.
Maybe. I don't know. Which desert sequence? You can spoil it.
Vegas.
Oh, yeah. That was cool.
Yeah. That whole thing that happens in Vegas was one of just like that was like a wow, this is a upper echelon gaming moment I had. I'm like, wow, this was sick.
Yeah.
So the
When
game
you
is
first
eye
see
candy.
that, well, I don't know what that is. The dino robot that swims past you in the beginning, like,
Mm-hmm.
ooh, you're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
this is gonna be a thing. This is gonna be
Yeah.
a thing.
The plesiosaur looking one. Tide Ripper.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Tide Ripper, and you got. I think I was able to take off his tail.
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty stoked about that. Use my tear arrows.
Yeah. So that's what I'll say. This game, everything you say, gameplay, weapons, all that is fun. I'm still gonna play it. I still have been playing it. The game is so fun that I actually want to try to 100% it because all the content is fun.
Yeah.
But what I'll say to people at home about this game is, woof, this is one of the most eye candy games I've played in a while. There are beaches in this game. There are coral reefs, oceans, swamps, deserts, snowy mountains, plains, like actual hilly jungles. Damn near every biome you can think of appears in this game, and they're all huge and unique and just fun to explore. So, Wes, it's not wasting time when you say, "Oh, I've just been walking around." All I'm doing was walking around because it's a world that's so alive. It's genuinely fun to walk around, and that's a very hard line to do in big open world games where sometimes they can feel dead and empty.
Yeah.
This world does not feel dead and empty. It's huge and colorful, and it just makes the game that much more fun. So I'm probably not going to be done with it anytime soon, just because the gameplay loop of fighting and killing monsters just doesn't get old to me.
Yeah, and they
fancy
respawn
challenges
pretty
for
often,
myself.
so you can always go back to
Mhm.
that area, and then you fight them again, and see if there's a
Mhm.
different way. And you're like, oh, last time you used hair arrows, this time I'm gonna use my spike thrower. Next time I'm gonna try and do with traps. Like,
Mhm.
it's just I haven't. I'll to be honest though, I haven't had any success with traps. Every time I try and put one down, like all those dudes just like curb stomp me because
I'll
you're sitting
send you
there
some clips.
you're sitting there unprotected basically. You have no weapons out and you're trying to build this stupid little hot air balloon trap, and then they're like, oh, I see you, and then they just like clobber me, and I'm like, and then trying to run away, and then I run into my own trap and die. It's just I haven't had any success with the traps.
I'll send you this clip. I took over
Yeah, you've been overriding, huh?
I took over what are those big ones? I took over a Thunderjaw.
Oh, nice.
And it fought a Tremor Tusk, and it absolutely
That's
wiped
Godzilla versus
it was
Kong
some actual,
right there, bro.
It was an actual Zilla Kong. I'll send it to you. But yeah, the game's a lot of fun, a lot of replay value, very much worth the money, and it's going to keep me occupied probably for a good amount of time.
So I texted you, yesterday or the day before, and I was like, hey, anybody want to play some Apex? I've been taking a small break from Horizon just to get some Apex, make sure I don't lose, what little skill I had. And you texted me back and said, yo, bro, I'm like deep into Elden Ring right now. And then I looked, and then Tyler was also playing Elden Ring at that time. I'm surprised you hadn't got Kendall on it yet. What is making this a Savon game, given that you were, especially since you were a little bit skeptical walking into it?
Yeah, I was very skeptical. And it's weird because everything that I was skeptical about, I think I was justified and I was right about.
Yeah.
Like, none of that has changed. I was telling Mike, I've never played a game that was so amazing at the things it's good at and so mid at the other thing, at the things that it's not good at.
Well, start with that. What's it mid at?
Like, the game feels like it's a beautiful game and then a PS4 game at the same time. There are certain moments where I'm like, damn, this game is breathtaking visually. And other moments where I'm like, dude, is this like a really good PS3 game visually? And I feel like it swings wildly between that. So compared to Horizon,
I don't know if you can make fun of that, given that you still play GTA 5 on the regular, and that was legit an actual PS3 game. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you have any room
but
to
this
talk
game
here.
came out. Yeah, but this was a new game that came out. I have a different standard. Like GTA, I accepted that it's a 2013 game running on that engine, so I know there's only so much better it's gonna be. If you got a new game that you release in 2022, I just have like Horizon came out in the same period of time, and so I'm comparing that to like Horizon, which we just talked about as being just complete eye candy, right? So it's hard to compare. And then,
man, when you got like the snow and you're on the mountain peaks and you can look around and see all the other snow-capped mountains.
Characters have weight to their emotions and everything.
Yes.
This one I could just spin the stick and my character's just rotating like I'm in like I'm in a Photoshop program. Characters, you hit multiple enemies and they all do the same animation at the same time of getting hit back.
Oh,
As someone who just likes that level of detail and realism and that little extra oomph, that's always going to be something I hold against the game. That being said, you saw my text. I'm deep in it. I'm having a blast. Like, the world still has a sense of scale that like Tyler said this, I was talking to him and I watched when him and Mike were playing. Like, damn, this world is, and we've played a lot of open world games. This world is big.
Yeah, the map is huge.
It is scale. There was an elevator I took into like a secret area, and I put my timer on my phone. It was a 55-second descent, and it was just eye candy the whole time.
All right.
So some elements of the game feel dated, but also I kind of have to recognize that's not what they're trying to be good at. So I don't want to judge a fish for its ability to fly, you know?
I hear you.
In fairness. So some of that stuff is kind of like, okay, whatever. Doesn't appeal to the superficial side of me. But then in terms of just like an RPG and its embracement of RPG world and tropes, it's absolutely a Savon game.
Nice. Brian and Girlfriend Reviews. So if you haven't checked out the YouTube channel, Girlfriend Reviews, I really enjoy it. It's funny, you know, and entertaining. They've both talked about the idea that in this one, compared to other Souls game or From Souls or whatever it's called, From Software games, you don't have to go on this linear path and you don't have to like fight these bosses that are way OP compared to you. You can actually go out of where you're at, go fight some more stuff, level up your character some more, and then come back when you feel like you're ready. Has that been a plus for you and a strength of the game, or have you felt like that doesn't really affect how you play the game and you could have taken or leaving it?
No, I like that actually. So far, one of the first bosses I actually didn't have that much trouble with, but everyone says, no, I'm saying, but everyone says one of the big things is like, hey, if you don't like this fight you're in, you can just leave. And there were moments where I did bite off more than I can chew for a fight. And it is nice to say, hey, you can just bounce and do whatever you want. I think it is a pro and a con. It is kind of jarring to play the game and see that there's literally no quest menu. There is no direction. Like there was a moment where I'm in the world.
Especially coming from Horizon where there's a bunch of quests and a bunch of menus and a bunch of things you can do.
Insane amounts of direction, yeah. So there was a moment where I'm sitting there with my armor and I'm in this open field and I'm just like, oh, what do I do now? And it's just, whatever I decide to do. And I just wandered around. So that is a strength ultimately of not just like, because I know when I played like some of the earlier Dark Souls games, if I got stuck on a fight, I was like, I don't have time for this. This fight isn't even fun enough to justify me spamming 15 times to try and win. Yeah, that's actually a huge strength of the game, but also if you like direction, it's probably not a strength. I think the only real downside to it is that I actually like to try and play games without using guides when I can, because I do enjoy experiencing it on its own to the best I can. Yeah. But I think these games by design, it's not meant to be that. You're meant to go online and have to look stuff up, and some of that I enjoyed playing Horizon and just exploring and figuring everything out on my own.
Right. And if you can choose different ways to do it, you might stumble upon a way that other people didn't do, and that's like totally fine. Yeah, I think Horizon really like benefits from that, especially given that they give you, 30 different weapon types. Not really. They give you like 10 different weapon types you can use. And like for me, I haven't used the rope caster at all. Haven't got it to work really. I think I've used it like 4 times and like I still get beat up when I use it. So I'm like, it's just that was not for me. But like people can totally make it work. And so you can kind of do your own thing. In Elden Ring, do you get like a whole different types of weapons and
there's an insane amount of weapon diversity. Like the amount of tools and weapon diversity is actually way, way bigger than I gave the game original credit for. There's got to be.
Are you liking 20... that? Is that good, or is it like, oh no, there's too many choices and
no,
that makes
it's
it
good.
overwhelming?
It's good because it lets you. It kind of leans into why it's such a good RPG game where you can really do damn near any type of build you want. Like if you want some person who uses heavy armor and uses a weirdo drill weapon, or just swords and rapiers, or dual wield whips, or a flail and a shield. There's so many options that you can really make whatever you want to have in your mind. You can probably actualize it in some way. So, like, it works, and obviously it accommodates it. And there's like a system. I'm not going to explain the system, but there's a system where you can add on more moves to your weapon. So, all of that is actually a huge strength of the game. My biggest issue is totally just aesthetics. Yeah. Which is
you just wish it looked better and acted better sometimes on movement.
I just wish the game was a little sexier in that regard. And, just a little sexier across the board. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, just be a little sexier.
All right, but what kind of build are you going for? Are you going like a mage, or what's your type here?
Nah, I made an old black woman. I named her Miss Coretta, and she uses like a full suit of armor, a shield, and a spear. And she's just out here blocking and tanking and stabbing, and it is dope.
All right. Fair enough. What did Mike and Tyler build?
I think Mike's using some kind of mage magic thing.
So he's just casting spells, putting people to sleep.
Yeah, he's just shooting stuff, and then Tyler has
crossbow.
No, it's like a vampire type deal.
A vampire?
It's like thematically. So rapiers and finesse weapons and dashing around. So I'm enjoying it. Didn't think like I said, the things I don't like, I very much know what I don't like about the game, but it's not stopping me from having fun.
So most people you'd recommend it to? Or do you think there's only a specific subset of people?
If you like direction, you will get none in this game. And so for some people, that is huge. So if you want direction, do not get this game. There is no direction. Some people don't like to have to use wikis for games, to have to look up everything. If you're not one of those people, you probably shouldn't play this game. And some people like legit don't want to do that. They want to play a game, not have to do homework. So I think if those people probably won't enjoy this game. If you want something that's a lot flashier and sexier, this game is fun. The combat is satisfying. You're not going to feel as cool as you do as Kratos or as Aloy or as
Spider-Man.
Or as Spider-Man. Like, you're just not going to get that. But you're going to get a really good RPG game. A top-tier RPG game.
Top tier. I mean, it's gotten nothing but praise, it seems like, online. So
I get why people are enjoying it. It's fun. Like, it's still fun to explore. It's easy to get lost in. Like, I get it.
Seems like a lot of people would enjoy it. And like you said, as long as those things aren't deal breakers for you, even if they're not your preference, you still might enjoy it
They're not deal breakers at all.
Yeah, based on what people are saying. No, I'm saying if it is a deal breaker that you want direction, right? And you're like,
oh yeah,
I'm not going to play it, then okay, it's not for you. But even if you're like, I'd prefer a game with direction, but I'm willing to try it, like, it sounds like even those folks are still enjoying the game quite a bit.
But it's an investment game is what I'll also say. Like, this is a game where if you want to get the most out of it and feel cool and all this, you're going to actually have to probably put some time into it. So if you're someone who's just trying to play a little bit more casually and just get in a few games that night, this game also probably isn't for you, because some people don't want to use their hour or two of gaming a night to just get blasted by Elden Ring bosses.
Yeah, or track down like specific resources, things like
exactly.
that. Where you didn't even have any combat in that 2 hours.
Exactly.
All right. I mean, that's actually a little bit of a weakness in Horizon, right? Like, sometimes you do need to go do these specific things, and you could spend an hour and a half kind of hunting down a couple of resources, but not actually progressing your way through the story. And for some people, I think that's a little bit frustrating. Like, hey, I spent an hour and a half in this game and I didn't actually move the story forward. All I did was went and got like prepared for the story to move forward. But I've enjoyed that part of it. That hasn't been a problem for me.
In fairness, you can turn the difficulty down to the point where you don't need to get prepared and get resources. If you're someone who doesn't care about that. Because if you set it to like story difficulty, you don't need to craft extra arrows and bags, because you'll be strong enough to where you're not going to realistically lose any of your fights.
Oh, nice.
So, and they have the easy loop. I mean, but still, I agree. Like, there's people who are going to be turned off by that. But
for sure,
again, that's a strength of Horizon. They do a pretty good job of straddling the line of people who want to play hardcore survivalists and people who just want to fight robots and do the story.
Yeah. I'm definitely a little bit more towards the I just want to fight robots side.
Yeah.
All right. So, Savon, you and I grew up very differently. I was an older sibling. I was an only child actually for 7 years. My sister is 7 years younger than me.
Is this 7 years younger than you?
Yeah. We're definitely. She's not an accident, supposedly. That's what my parents claim. They said she was planned.
Shots fired.
They claim, that's what they claim. They said no, she was planned. I said okay. I don't know how that works, but okay. I actually do believe them. They'd be crazy enough to be like, you know what? We're getting older in age. We better have one more before. Yeah, I don't. Whatever. They're
7
years
a weird, later.
Yeah, they're a weird bunch. But Our family never put a whole lot of stock in looking, extra fly. We didn't get rewarded for like the best trash talk. In fact, we were probably quite discouraged from pounding our chests a little bit. That was seen as not humble. Savon, you grew up, I think, what it sounds to me like you grew up in a very different environment from what that looks like.
I mean,
I didn't
yes, but no.
I didn't have an older brother, an older brother or sister sitting on me and, putting me in my place. So.
Okay, I was not getting bullied by my siblings. No. So yeah.
You were doing the bullying, I see. Okay.
No, it wasn't that either, but when me and my brother were growing up and the games we used to play a lot of Grand Theft Auto growing up. We used to play a lot of the
fighting games too, huh?
Yeah, fighting games, the 2K game. Yeah, 2K, the early basketball games, the early 01, 02 NBA Lives. And I think something you got to keep in mind for us, all those games, like, it was about style. Style was a big part of all those games. You want to have your nice lowrider in GTA. In the NBA games, when you make your creative dude and all that, you want to make sure you have a fly jersey. Or, Wes, that was the early 2000s, right? Like, yeah, that's when street ball and all that was the thing. That's when you were rocking
mixtapes.
Yeah, so that's the games we played. You wanted to rock the jewelry and have the headband, and AI was that dude, and Ben Wallace had the afro and everyone had the Rip Hamilton cornrow. It was an era.
It was an era, that's for sure.
I think when we were doing stuff, we put a lot of stock in, like, it's not just what you do, it's how you look while you do it. If you're going to do it, you got to be fresh while you do it. So yeah, I think that's led to us being two very
philosophically, I'd say we're not overlapping a ton here on the Venn diagram for style. So we thought we'd discuss our different takes here, or different perspectives, I think, on style, especially within the video game world, because sometimes me and you get into it a little bit about, like, Savon straight up be like, Wes, I'm kind of disgusted right now with you and what you're doing. And so we talk about that a little bit here. So in Fortnite and Apex and, some competitive games, your character skin really doesn't have it shouldn't have a big effect on how you perform. It doesn't give you extra abilities or anything like that. So I thought I'd ask, what are your fashion rules? Since I think your fashion rules are kind of more entertaining, I'm going to go first here. So here are my fashion rules for games like that where your costume, your skin doesn't matter. Number one, wear whatever the hell you like. That's number one. Wear whatever you like.
It's a good one.
No one can tell you anything else. Number two, try out as many skins as possible. Why keep it the same every day? There's no penalty for switching up what you got. If you want to wear, a level 1 skin or a level 2 skin or a level 4 skin, just that came out bad, a foreskin. But
you didn't have to. You didn't have to say anything. You were doing so well. I was like, I'm so proud of him right
now. Just try them all out. Why not? You got them all in your garage. Hey, if you got it, flaunt it. That's what I'm saying. Like, don't let anything go to waste. That's all I'm saying. Like, wear all the skins you got. Just enjoy them. And the last one is try not to pay for things. It's a seamless process. Money is tight for most people. You can easily spend $20, $30, $100 over the course of a couple of weeks just trying to get, like, a new skin that, Respawn has released or Epic Games has released in Fortnite. It's bad financial planning here, right? Like, you already paid money for the game or for the battle pass or whatever. I don't need to be sinking more money into this game. They're making tons of money off the 11-year-olds that they're duping into wearing it. I don't need to contribute to that. It's a consumerist society. We don't need all that. So those are my rules or guidelines, so to speak. Savon, in a game like that, where's your head at in terms of, when you're buying skins or not buying skins here?
Well, first of all, I want the freshest, cleanest, loudest thing possible. Look, I even caught myself on that one. So hold on, stop there. So now for me, it's all about flash. So I like the pastels. I want loud colors. I want prints. If there's something that's just a big, vibrant thing, I want to have that. We talked about how in Call of Duty, there was a skin where one of the characters has like a gold and black and white, just shiny suit. And as soon as I unlocked that, I insisted on wearing it because it's a gold and white and black shiny suit. Why would I not wear it? I don't care if it makes me stand out in the midst of this depressing,
this is a game where
city.
You want to blend into your environment. You're the sniper on the hill. And this fool's wearing a reflective gold outfit.
Damn straight.
Making himself a big old peacock target out there.
Yeah, actually, that's the best analogy. I'm always trying to peacock it. Like, we're peacocking at all times. Got to let it be known. So, If it's GTA, I gotta have my colorful whip or my lowrider. If it's Apex, I'm whipping out whatever's. You've seen the skins I rock. I like colorful stuff.
For sure.
Always gotta rep something bright.
Extra
so
color.
That's just So anything that's blinged out or whatever, the most tacky, obnoxious stuff, we rolling with it, and that's just you gotta have rules. That mil sim armor. I'm not into that at all. I'll avoid that if I can.
You're not trying to play army out here.
Yeah. And then as far as buying skins, Apex is pretty much the only game, but that's very specific reasons for me, just in terms of it's a free game and I just play it more than any other game I play. And
that's surprising to me because I figured you would have, in 2K, I know you don't love spending money in 2K, but I figured you would have, upgraded the shoes a little bit. Like the default shoes you get in 2K are usually like very dry.
Oh no, I'll do that, but that's but you can use your in-game stuff you earn to get nicer shoes.
Okay.
But
and then when you're out in the neighborhood, you can't be walking around in just the brown shirt.
Oh no! I'll have my guy be fresh, but you can do that without. But I would never spend my own money on that just because you can earn money in the game and just buy it. And
yeah, but that money could go towards upgrading your skills.
Yeah, and that is why I don't play the game anymore. Like that right there, what you said, you have to choose between those two things. Like, yep, and that's when I realized, y'all blowing it.
All right.
Like if I got to choose between drip and competitive, actual tangible competitive advantage.
So there is a line at some point at which you're like, okay, the freshness, I don't, necessarily vibe with that no more.
Nah, I'll only do it if it's something like if it's in the context of Apex, if it has no competitive advantage, it doesn't give me a jump or an advantage or something about that. This is purely just for my own like vanity wanting to see this. I think that's absolutely fine. I don't have any huge qualms about that, especially for just the raw play time I get out of the game. We talked about how like I can think of almost $200 of games I've bought in the last like year and a half that I've gotten like I didn't even finish because they weren't nearly as fun as Apex ended up being.
Yeah, and Apex is it's an adrenaline shot.
Yeah, so the only game I'll put that into is like if I'm legitimately getting years worth of fun. Like I'm not gonna be not playing that game anytime soon. So it's like, I'll support it. Not a lot of games can entertain me on this long term.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? Like you got to support if you're gonna be playing this game. They're using up resources too on their end. It's a little bit of a give and take there.
That being said,
but you make fun of me if I don't wear if I don't wear a gold outfit, if I don't wear a legendary skin. And
me judging you has nothing to do with what you spend money on. It has to do with what you have access to and what you choose to use. I'll never judge somebody for not spending money on skins in a game. That's just being a judgy person. But I will absolutely judge you if you just have generally not fresh stuff because you don't need to spend money to be fresh. Okay, that's something that is a misconception.
Hey, sometimes you got to go back to basics so that when you get to the fresh stuff, it's like, it's a difference. You can't just always walk around at like one volume level, You gotta vary. It's like Kyrie Irving, right? He's not necessarily the fastest dude on the court, but he changes speeds, and that's what gets you, right? That's what you got to be sometimes. You got to change it up a little bit.
I don't agree with that, but But no, in all honesty, in the context of like Apex, I can begrudgingly respect that your logic is use as many things and mix it up. I can respect that because I get where you're coming from. I don't think that's foolish. Now, I think the part after this that we're about to talk about, that is the one where I'm like, oh, you disgust me.
I was that dude in college, bro. If we had a lecture, hall or whatever, every class I would sit in a different seat. And like,
oh my God, you're that guy.
Yeah. If I knew it was somebody's seats, I wouldn't mess with them and like try and take their seat or anything. But I would move around the classroom because I just want to see different perspectives.
You teach, so imagine if your one student was I'm gonna just swear different every day. Just like, dude, why are you doing this? You're effing up the flow of everything right now. People like consistency.
Don't care. Those professors don't care at all. They don't even know who I am.
Yeah, but your peers care. They're like, oh, this guy. The professor don't give a damn. They don't talk about your classmates. I'll be so mad. If some person sitting near me who normally don't, like, man, what the hell is this?
Maybe, maybe they got.
I bet you the audience at home are all just collectively like, oof. I don't know.
I mean, clearly most people like to sit in the same seat every time, but it's like
Yes.
they didn't have any reason for sitting in that seat in the first place. It's just the seat they sat in on day one, and that was it. They didn't think about it again. So,
Dude, I get pissed if I can't get the same parking spot in my apartment, like my apartment lot, and we don't even have assigned spots. I'm like, they know I'd be in this spot every day.
Nope, that'd be me. I'd be in your spot, just one day to try it out, see how I liked it. Maybe it's got good vibes in there. I don't know, good energy. All right, there are other games though that the armor or the costume comes with different stats, right? So you can there's like a you're trying to optimize your character for a certain type of battle or a certain type of gameplay, and it comes with different strengths and weaknesses. In Horizon, that would look like maybe it's good against melee, but maybe it's not good against, plasma or something like that. Some games, maybe it comes with a speed penalty, so it's stronger, but you can't move as fast. There's different ways that they do this in games. How much is fashion, your style, your drip, affecting your decision on which one you equip? I'd say let's rate this on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being fashion doesn't matter. It's all about the stats. You're just trying to pack in the most stats as possible. So, ugly skin doesn't matter. I'm going to wear that anyways. 10, fashion. So that's the only factor you care about. Where are you on this one, Savon? 1 to 10.
Probably somewhere in the 8 to 10 area.
Oh, so you're fashion forward.
Oh, come on, man.
Of course you are. Of course you are.
Come on, bro. Like
you're intentionally making the game harder for yourself.
Well, here's the thing. That's why I put the 8 on there.
Okay, all right.
I'm not going to intentionally sabotage myself, but also this is how I see it. I'm not bad at games, so if I need all the stats to carry me, then maybe I'm not that good in the first place. So that's really where I'm at with it. So
just get better, practice more.
Yeah, it's just like, all right, cool. I want to look fresh. If being fresh means that like I can't take as many hits, just means I gotta be better and not get hit. Like it's very straightforward. Most games you can still make your fresh looking stuff be viable, but I will never be strong at the expense of looking cool. Like I am a rule of cool type of person. Like when I do boss fights, Wes, I'll dramatically move the camera myself when I'm walking up to them. I slow walk up to bosses because I'm like, yo, crack them, let's get it in. Like I'm one of them folk. That is a thought that has
never crossed my mind, to like slowly pan the camera around myself to get a better view of the boss.
Oh yeah, when I clip stuff for y'all, I'm like, let me do a little camera work for them real quick. let me do some camera work so they can appreciate this right now. So for me, that is a key part. That's why with Horizon, got a rule of cool. Like you didn't like the rope caster? I like the rope because it looks cool. Tying something down with a big monster down with ropes is gonna always look and feel cool. I don't care if that's a good strategy or not. I'm going to do it.
It's got a great sound.
Yeah, all that. So I try and pick, and obviously if I can get good stats and look cool at the same time, I will. Of course. But like I'm even thinking about like Monster Hunter, which is a great example of functional armor and aesthetics. There were long periods of time where I definitely used armor that probably wasn't the best for a fight, but I wasn't going to look like a clown for better stats. It's just like, that's just not going to happen. The fun is me killing it and looking cool.
Yeah. I'm definitely wearing some armor that looks silly. She's got like this cardboard headdress on that's like got some like fake mouth, Inca looking designs on it. It's a look. We'll just say it's a look.
For the record, when I was playing with Mike when we were playing Horizon, I don't know have you met the Quinn yet?
Yes. Just
have you finished that sequence?
Yes, I just finished. I think I gotta take something back to the base now at this point.
Okay, so you get that Sobex raiment?
Which one?
The fit that the dude makes you wear?
No, so maybe I'm not at the Quinn. Oh, where you go to San Francisco.
Yeah.
I haven't done that part yet. I just met the first Quinn.
All right, it's fine. It's not a spoiler.
No, you're fine.
There was a point where Mike was okay looking like he was wearing a burlap sack because of stats. And I'm like, dude, I was actually... Like, I poke fun at Mike. I love Mike. I poke fun of him. I give him a hard time. But he admittedly has gotten me to try a bunch of games I wouldn't have otherwise given the light of day. So give him props. We'll
give him one prop.
That man can still be disgusting in terms of just what he's willing to let his characters in a game look like.
I am in the Mike camp. I'm on level 3, man, out of 10 there. If If I have a choice
Ew.
between fashion or function, I'm going function. You know, I don't want to look silly. I don't want to look bland and boring or ridiculous. But if that armor gets me the thing I need to be more efficient and win the fight, I'm putting it on. Putting it on for the duration, at least for that fight.
It's like I'm trying to think. It's like when you go to an award show, Wes. You know, people wear heels. Are heels comfortable? I don't know. I don't wear heels, but from what I've heard, they aren't comfortable. But guess what? They look damn good, and that's why people wear them. You don't see Angelina Jolie go to the Oscars or the movie awards or whatever wearing some Chucks because they comfortable, because the comfort stats are good and that's all that matters. No, you gotta drip on them. And that means you got to take a little bit of hit somewhere else. But that's the price of greatness. Are suits comfortable? Absolutely not. But guess what? You know, I would love to just be able to wear sweatpants and a tee because that's comfortable. But guess what? When you're getting clean, there's a cost. Sometimes you lose a little bit of that comfort.
Nah.
But guess what?
Nah.
Do you have wedding day pictures? Were you wearing sweats and a t-shirt on your wedding day?
All right, fine. For wedding, I dressed up a little bit.
Guess what? Was it comfortable? Hell no. But were you probably clean as hell? Yeah. I bet you was clean. You was super clean.
But dripping. You know, if I could have worn, you know, tennis shoes and not been ridiculed, you know, out of the building, I probably would have.
Wes, if I get married and everybody's dripped out and you come there with some sneakers saying, sorry, these are more comfortable, I'm going to drop kick you. I'm going to drop kick you.
You're like, out.
No, I get it. Keep in mind, I absolutely get it. But, you know, people...
That ain't you.
It's all about style, you know? You got to. It's the same reason, you know, Batman... I don't know, same way superheroes have all those impractical fits. It's like, yeah... But it's also about sending a message. When you see a big, bright MF come at you, you're like, oh, dang, they just bright. They don't care. Oh, man, it must be scary.
It's true.
Oh, this dude got this fresh skin. Oh, this dude, oh, no.
Why does Drax just wear pants and nothing else? Like,
yeah, you see a big shirtless dude coming like, oh, Lord. So, I get it, but...
Nah, I want all the stats. Give me all the stats. I don't care what it looks like. I'm a sucker for, you know, the highest tier weapon or the highest tier armor. I don't really care what it looks like.
So you'll use a tuna fish sword, a sword that's just a fish if it had the best stats.
If it had the best stats.
Disgusting.
But not if it was just for fun. If it was like, oh, here's a funny toy that you can play in the game. Nah, I'm not about that. No,
so the best weapon in the game was like a corn cob.
I'm taking
and the corn cob got the best stats, but it is a corn cob, and there's no hiding that it is a corn cob. And every time you play the game, you're swinging with a corn cob. I would use love that from beginning to end.
It's so absurd that I would actually like it. But if you gave me the best sword, but it was just this like little rinky dinky, you know, boring ass dagger, but it had really good stats, I'm taking that dagger. I'm taking it. I don't even care. Rusty dagger. Give me the rusty dagger.
I think what I told Mike is like, this is like gaming without seasoning. Like, you're just playing it in the most means to an end way possible ever. Like, dang, like, you can eat food without seasoning, but like, damn, where's the fun? Like, where's the good stuff? This is what makes it good. You're eating just to stay alive.
I just want to win. I just want to win. Yeah. I just want to win. I don't need flavor. Give me the win. I want a W. I want to feel
such
good.
A fun thing. Like, if you play GTA, you're the guy who only get tanks because they're practical instead of getting like a classic old school. Because what does it do?
Yeah, and you got the top, you know, off. You're more likely to get shot. I don't want a convertible whip. Nah, I don't need that Impala, bro.
Yeah, and I will happily drive around with my drop top. Like, man, whatever happens, happens. Oh, this is never gonna get old because this is gonna show up in every game we play together, bro.
All right, well, let's wrap up there. Something we're looking forward to this week. It's finally here after being kind of teased for, man, almost a year now. They've been telling us Moon Knight is coming to Disney Plus. Savon, are you excited for it? Or are you kind of tepid, like, we'll see? You wait and see, guy, on this one?
I mean, Moon Knight was never a character I was super connected or interested to. But he's interesting because his whole thing is just the mental blackouts. It seems like it's going to be a real mental psycho thriller type deal. They did a great job with that in WandaVision. So I'm confident that it has the potential to be executed. But I'm kind of just going in with like, I'm just going with an open mind. I don't really know a lot about the character that much. I don't, Oscar Isaac has proven to be a talented actor, so
True.
I'm just gonna like
in
watch
everything. By the way, like let somebody else have a chance, guy.
Yeah, like eating up all the roles, but I'm gonna give it an honest try and see. Like we'll see how much they lean into like the psycho thriller direction, which I think can really make or break what this show can be.
I think I'm in the same boat. I don't know anything about Moon Knight. So seeing the trailer again, that come out a couple weeks ago, it was interesting, but I don't know. It looked confusing as hell. I don't love things that are confusing just to be confusing. Like I want it to be kind of not straightforward, but I want it to make sense. And so we're gonna see.
It'll make sense.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I don't know. It seems like he's gonna have a multiple personality kind of situation here, like Dr. Fate or like any of those kind of characters where they sort of get taken over. Like was it Phoenix? Phoenix takes over Jean Grey. So it could be good, but we've seen stuff like that before, and it's always just like, oh, like the character, that person really didn't matter because the spirit or whatever just takes them over. Enchantress, it's that's the thing that matters, but they don't have a personality. They just end up being like power hungry or something like that, or just angry for no reason. We got the Holy Ghost in real life. We don't really need that in our comics. That's all I'm saying. All right, let's wrap it up there. We hope you enjoyed this confidently wrong half strength, but twice as fun. Confidently wrong. You can visit us on our socials at confidently_pod, Twitter, Instagram. Leave us some comments. Tell us if you're excited for Moon Knight, and also, are you the drippiest character? Are you the functional character? Which one are you swinging towards? Visit all of our sponsors. We don't really got any, but if you want to visit our sponsors, we use all kinds of things, and we pretend we have sponsors. This week, Subaru.
You've never had a night, West, where you and Jen have gone out and you looked really good, maybe at the expense of being a little cold when you're outside trying to go in?
Ooh, never. I'll look good, but I'm not going to sacrifice my comfort, like warmth or something important like that. No. I'm taking the jacket, even if the jacket isn't super fly or anything. I'm taking the jacket with me, bro. I'm not gonna freeze. I'm not gonna freeze over no date night. No, it's not gonna happen. Or you go to the club and you got a jacket, but there's nowhere to put the jacket, so people just don't take the jacket. No.
Yeah, you just keep the coat on all night.
Taking the jacket, it's coming with me. I'll even wrap it around my waist and look like that dude, bro.
Oh my God, I'm in physical pain.
I know when I'm doing that, I look terrible though, and I'm like, I wish I had a place to put this.
It's okay, Wes. At this point, you're married with a child. You're in a dog in a house. You're done. You hang your jersey up. You don't have to worry about other people's opinions. You probably never needed to.
It's just I'm never gonna see those people again. Who cares? Who cares what they think? I don't want to lose the jacket. If I put it down, it might go missing. Someone might take my jacket. The joints are expensive. We're out of here. Have a good one.